2 years ago, on Juneteenth 2021, KBLA Talk 1580 launched with a promise to give disenfranchised fellow citizens a voice in current political, economic, social, and cultural issues with an empowering, sustainable, and restorative language.
Everybody's got a little light under the sun, under the sun, under the sun.
As we enter our third year, we are delighted that KBLA Talk 1580 consistently emerges as the talk station of choice for African American listeners. In a vigorous public opinion research study, the 2023 African American Media Issue Survey finds that for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 remains the most trusted, credible, and reliable media source in Southern California for African Americans and beyond. Furthermore, 80% of those surveyed agree that outlets like KBLA Talk 1580 provide honest and authentic content about the issues most important to the Black community directly from Black journalists who understand the issues that need to be addressed. At KBLA Talk 1580, we remain committed to curating conversations that matter to you. Thank you for your continued support. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. The station that sounds like the city looks. The city looks.
Take heed, take heed, take heed.
I'm out of town, thuggin' with my round. My Tootsie Roll brown. Where the hitters? I'm looking for the bros. Quit playing hitters,
And those sweet songs that you are being serenaded with right now, that is Sexy Red, Hound Town. For all of you that were wondering, you were checking out hour 2 of RSVP with Jill Munroe. Sitting in with me tonight is my contributor, Trent the artist. And if you are in the chat, I want to know your thoughts of Pound Town. Her Tootsie Rolls brown.
It's a no for me, dog.
It's a no for you, dog. No, Randy. No, you can't take it.
Nope.
So, taking it back to the chat for a second, we asked the question in the chat, is BET still relevant today? 64% of you said yes, they are. 35% of you said no. So, that brings me to what I was going to share with you about the potential sale of BET. So right now, it's still in negotiations. As we've all heard, Tyler Perry and a group of investors are in the lead. We know Tyler owns 25% of BET already because of his deal with the BET Plus streamer. We know that he has the top shows on the network with Sisters and The Oval. And what's the one where they're in a cult and it's on the streamer?
Oh, yeah, the Rakadashi. They are a mess. I watch that show too sometimes. Oh my God, what is the darn? I forgot the name of that show.
But that and all of those
they
things.
Are a mess.
So Tyler is all the things. He obviously has the inroads into that situation. However, what the holdup is allegedly is the asking price. So it is said that currently, no, it's Paramount now. It used to be Viacom. Paramount that owns it wants in excess of $3 billion for BET and VH1 and the streamer. That's a lot of money, right? That is a lot of money. On top of that, Paramount has about $15 billion in debt. So they have to sell BET and VH1 for that price, allegedly, in order to help them get their debt down. Anything below that price won't really help them in the positioning that they're trying to establish and take away some of that debt and replace it and get the most bang for their buck. So that is allegedly what the holdup is that Tyler and his partner or group are balking at the sale price because it's high. And obviously, Tyler is also a little frustrated, allegedly, that there are reports that the purchase has already taken place. It hasn't. It's no official word yet. They are in negotiations. You know, there is another group that was kind of waiting in the wings, but they have sort of assumed that it's not going to happen. That's the group with Puffy, P. Diddy. I'm sorry, not P. Diddy. That is the group with Kenya Barris, Shaquille O'Neal, and
Didn't Byron Allen have a hand in this somewhere?
Byron Allen was another separate one.
Okay.
He was wanting to buy it. And then there was the group. Puffy had mentioned people coming together, but no real word. And then there was word of a group which contained Kenya, Shaquille O'Neal, and 50 Cent. That's it.
Oh, okay.
That's the other individual, 50 Cent. So we're still waiting to see how it all shakes out. Obviously, Tyler is the front runner for the reasons that we listed. His pre-existing relationship with the network, the success of his shows there already. I do wonder if Tyler takes it over. Think the BET Awards moves to Atlanta and they're shot at Tyler's studios?
Of
Why
course,
not?
absolutely.
Right. Makes sense,
And
right?
it probably makes sense too that the reason why the show was scaled back this year because of the impending sale and then all the financial problems too. So it looks like a $20 admission ticket for those reasons, right?
I mean, maybe, but I will say this, the same production company that has been producing it for basically the last 20 years did produce the show last night. And if you think about the sets and not so much maybe with some of the artists, their individual performance, but the stage design, the concept, the sound, it was all pretty amazing. It was really nice.
I thought it looked decent. I think it looked like any other performance that we go to with the digital screen.
Are you spoiled now?
No, I'm not spoiled, but I'm specifically thinking about Escape's show with SWV and how they had all the TVs and the monitors in the back and they were making a big deal about their production. So it reminded me of all the hoopla that Candy and the girl were going through setting up the screens and stuff, and it looked just like that. It looks just like any other performance that, we see at a concert.
I mean, but we saw the bodega. They took us to the Bronx. We, went on the West Coast with the little lowrider. Shout out to Lola.
What else did people want?
Yo. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I do think that we have a tendency to be harder on us than we are on other programs. I saw someone sort of disparaging Lotto for being excited about winning that rapper award, but at the same time, we complain when we're ignored by the Grammys or the Academy Awards and those things, but we don't appreciate our legacy brands all of the time. Now, is that sometimes because the quality slips and maybe we aren't all the way feeling that? Yeah, but I do think that we have to stop taking them for granted.
Yes.
Because as we see, it is so easy for them to slip and disappear. Diversity and inclusion was all the rage a few years ago, right? We were dealing with the racial reckoning and it was on our way to change. And now we know that a lot of those people that were hired in those roles, those things that were established, have been tossed to the wayside. So I think that it is important, while BET is not above critique, they're not above criticism. We can lovingly critique the entities that we love. Right?
We're always hard on each other, but also as a people, we are rarely satisfied.
That is true.
And we have to be honest about that. And we also have to be more supportive of the things that we have in our everyday immediate reach. And until we start taking care and appreciating the things that we have around us locally, we can't get to a place where we actually have an all-inclusive network that pleases every black person.
But the thing, and what I will say about that is something that I will always say. I think that there reached a point. So I worked at BET 2007, 2008 time frame, right? And so I felt like there reached a point where they needed to commit to either rolling with the youth or being the voice of the elder generation, because they cross and they can be in conflict. And though, again, we are people that will do our thing on Saturday night and show up for the word Sunday morning, at a certain point you might need to separate, because what they're doing over here is disturbing the elders' spirit, and the elders trying to dampen the expressiveness of the youth is, not allowing them to find themselves. So I think that was something that for me was always kind of a miss, because you can't be everything to everyone.
Yes.
And though they had Bobby Jones Gospel and Sunday Best, shows like that, you had to let go of Uncut, and Uncut was one of the more popular shows, right? It was something that brought eyeballs in and brought the youth in. We can debate all day on whether that's good, bad, or indifferent, but what do we say? It's a money-making entity. Go ahead, Trent. You got something to say.
I was just thinking about just putting BT into perspective. And I said a second ago that we can't please everybody. We did please everybody at the same time, because you just laid it out. We had Uncut After Dark. We had, everything was segmented. And what happened? What happened? I don't know.
Hip hop exploded, because here's the thing that I will stand by. BET took a lot of slings and arrows for hip hop. And people don't really think about that. They, they're kind of like, what are you talking about? But there was definitely
they did. They changed their whole demographic in the daytime.
They changed their demographic. They also had to deal with advertisers or fans that were there in the earlier years that did not feel that hip hop was a great representation. The C. Dolores Tuckers and those type of things. We had to deal with all of that. And BET stood to the forefront and supported younger acts. If you really think about it, they always supported those younger acts and gave them a platform and put them on display.
Pretty Brown Mimi is off the chain. She said Oprah and Gail can get on the sale too. Now, Oprah and Gail is not thinking about black entertainment
television. Oprah has her
television.
own network. And she sold off some of that. She's like, responsibility.
I'm getting
just
old.
going to
I
be
ain't
on
got time.
my land where I can drive around to the guest cottage and
play with flowers and ponies and live organic and tan.
And
with
grow my
Stedman.
food. Yeah. That's a nice life. I'm not mad at that.
At all. Especially when you work that hard and you're 70 years old. Like, come on. You just want to chill at some point.
And so this is the reason why I ask, is BET still relevant? Because we have all of these idealized thoughts that we apply to BET. We have a nostalgia because of what it meant to us. But is that realistic in this current time frame?
It can be, because, again, as a people, once we see something, then we run with the idea. So if we start seeing things different on a mass scale, then we'll be influenced to start changing and doing things and moving different.
But are there so many different areas and ways that you can get black content? Because again, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm going to watch the BET Awards every year, at least some of it. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to be supportive. But do you need BET in the same way that you did before? Does BET need to have a news show? Do they need to have a public affairs section?
I think BET can be relevant, again, if they adapt to the current time. So, again, we do have all these avenues where all of, like, right now, say, for instance, okay, it's black owned again. Like, we have the writer's strike right now, right? This is a golden opportunity for every single black creator to have their work put out, because in a couple months, come fall, people are going to need something to watch. They're going to be bored. So we're going to see all this original content get a boom. That would be the perfect avenue for BET to, absorb some of those shows and give creators a voice. And that will just draw in the voice, because everyone wants, to get on a network. Everyone wants to get off of YouTube and be on TV. That's still the medium, and that's still a goal. So why not provide that platform by owning a black station and getting all the black content creators and giving them a platform for that?
Okay, so you guys in the chat, if you have any thoughts or comments about that, I see that J. Lou says, I believe Byron Allen would consider bringing back public affairs programming. I would love to see him work with Tavis Smiley, our fearless leader here.
Yes, we love Tavis.
Ed Gordon and Jackie Reed if he buys BET. So I asked, though, how do we know that Tavis has his own thing right now? What's Jackie Reed doing? Do we know? Do those people want to come back together? Would it still work the same way? Is the way that we view television, is the way that we view content even conducive to what BET was. I say again, you yourself said you watch BET Plus. Like, if you're going to watch BET, that's how you're going to get your BET content.
The reason why I don't watch a lot of the stuff is because it's not appealing to me. I want to watch content like Teen Summit. I want to watch content like BET Nightly News. I loved watching Ed Gordon and Tavis Smiley on BET. We don't have that anymore. So where are we going to go to get it?
So I'll bring up an interesting point. There was a news channel that was bought by was it bought by? I can't remember who owned it. It was oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name of it. It was in Florida. There you go. That's it right there. It was in existence for a very short period of time.
What channel was it on?
What channel was it? Okay. Andy,
Period.
what are you saying?
Come on, Andy, back me up, bro.
No, I was just saying exactly to your point. A lot of people didn't know what channel the black channel was on.
They didn't know, but let me ask you this. If we are craving that type of content, if we want to see news program, right? The ones that did, the ones that were aware, the ones that were watching it, were they sharing it? Were they sharing the stories?
And see, that's the other thing. Pete, like I said a second ago, TV is always going to be the medium. The internet could break right now, and what are people going to do? They're going to go home, and if they've got cable, they're turning on the TV. It's always going to be the medium, no matter what. We've got to get something in. It's like it's nothing good to watch. There's nothing good to watch on TV.
Nothing. You don't think that
there's some good stuff, but for what black people want to see, they don't post it and they don't share it. And I think a lot of it is because we've come to a point where we are thriving off of drama and chaos. So if it's not drama and chaos, people don't want to repost it because they know that it's not going to get the attention as a world star fight is going to get.
I mean, that is facts. A good point. J. Lou brought up Byron Allen buying the Black News Channel and merged it into the Griot Network. Here's the thing with that. How many people watch the Griot Network? And the only time in recent months that people have talked about something on the Griot Network, and they probably don't even realize that it was on the Griot Network, is when they were talking about Ebony K. Williams' comments about the bus driver with Miss Van Zandt. So, to your point, drama sells, and do you want to take that route? Because we say, and that is my point, we say we want a lot of things. We say we want serious news. We say we want things presented to us. But then when it's given to us, when it's put out there, we don't always show up and support it. And that is disappointing.
That is the gripe. I talk about that on my podcast all the time. It's one of my major gripes. It's something that I just recently talked about this morning. We don't support each other, and I talked about this offline with you. It's a strange thing. It's a very, very strange thing.
But see, here's the thing. I don't even think it's that we don't support each other, because we do, and we will support
selective.
each other. It's selective, but what we will support, and I say this as someone who is a cheerleader for foolishness. I like a little foolishness sometimes.
Do. Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's, appealing.
I definitely do.
We know you do.
I started a lot of the time.
I mean, man, stir.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing. We all like a little bit of it. But like I always say, you need a little bit of medicine with your sugar. Let's balance it out. Let's keep that going. And what I don't like is we will run, we will support, we will talk down the various scandals and situations, and I enjoy that. Like I said, let me be clear, I enjoy it. It's fun, and I'll have the tea. So of course I'm going to want to talk about it, but I don't appreciate the fact that we don't always show up for the serious side or the more business-minded topics or the things that are educational. We say we want that. We have to always support it. Otherwise, it's going to go away. Oh, we got a caller coming
We
through.
show up for it, but we show up for it when we need it the most.
Well, we'll talk about the caller when we come back from the break. You were checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe right here live on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that's between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. Eligibility criteria apply and funding is limited. For more information, visit covidpaidsick.com. If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that has between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. For more information, visit covidpaidsick.com.
Meet Joe A, Joe B, and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with autosave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect. Support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase. Make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
The Shadow Sister Tour is coming to Malik Books, Westfield, Culver City Mall, Friday, June 30th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Author Lily Mead will be signing and discussing her new book, The Shadow Sister. This book is perfect for fans of emotional suspense, sisters with stories with complex family dynamics, and speculative fiction, including hoodoo. Lily Mead's captivating book is a must-read, truly a page-turner. From the first line to the final page, the moderator is New York Times best-selling author of the book, The Black Kids. Come out to Malik Books, Westfield, Culver City Mall for the Shadow Sister Tour, Friday, June 30th at 7 p.m. There will be diverse books featuring strong female leads. Malik Books is a community bookstore that amplifies the voices of our community and gives voice to the voiceless. For more information, go to malikbooks.com. Again, that's malikbooks.com.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe, and I just want to say I love the conversation tonight. I love that you guys are lighting up the chat, getting it in. KBLA Talk 1580 live from Leimert Park. We are recapping the BET Awards. We are also talking about BET's relevance in 2023. Pretty Brown Mimi, I asked a question in the chat. I asked what everyone is currently watching. I mean, in general, I just want to know what you guys are checking out, what type of shows. So during our break, Andy mentioned that one of the things he thought that might be good for BET moving forward would be revisiting the music block, having a music show, having that sort of, again, set the tone for the culture. I am going to tell you why I don't think that would work, although it sounds good. So, this is why I don't think that it will work.
Oh, Andy, you going to let her do that to you?
I'm just saying, it's not that I think it's a bad idea. I mean, and obviously a great deal of the culture is centered around music, the vibes, that's where, dressing. I just got through talking about Lotto and Put It on the Floor and everybody running around saying, rip me out the plastic, right? But here is the thing. One, music videos are not the event that they once were. Their budgets are not as extensive. The quality of them isn't necessarily something that you want to wait, stay up late, not going to be able to see it anyplace else to check out. nobody is really waiting with bated breath for a video. The only video that we are still waiting for are the videos from Beyonce's Renaissance album that are never going to come. She used user-generated stuff to display that imagery, and she's like, hey, the tour is where it's at. Come pay this $10,000 for one ticket and make it happen. Andy has a comment. Let's go.
So I got to push back. So, like, when you go on YouTube, when you watch videos, you see the number of views there, right?
Right.
And I understand we're in the stage now where everything's kind of like on demand. You can watch whatever you want to watch. But I do still think that a platform that still shows music videos, even new music videos for that matter, would be beneficial in a lot of ways. Because sometimes if I don't know that Ice Cube dropped the video, unless I actually go ahead and search for Ice Cube to see that he has a new video, I wouldn't know about it. As opposed to maybe like a 106 and Park reboot, so to speak. Oh, this is the new joint of the day, Ice Cube, blah, 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 whatever. Then I'm hip to the game.
I agree with you. I think that there is something to be said for curated content. RSVP. But, and for music videos, for all of those type of things, because also it's harder to find what you might like. You know, you don't know where to go. You don't know where to look. But that in-demand aspect of it is huge, because is everyone going to check in at that allotted time to check it out? Are they going to pick your mix, or are they just going to go and say, hey, Ice Cube has a website. Ice Cube has a YouTube channel. I'm going to go see what's up with Ice Cube over there, and I don't need you to kind of, you know, bring that along. You think about things like even the podcast game, right? And the artists are now holding the interviewer seat and interviewing each other. So it's also, which is cool, because it's, you know, it's nice to hear two talents sort of talk about what they go through. They can speak to each other in a different language because they understand, you know, the ups and downs, the roller coaster ride. But at the same time, that could get tricky as well. I don't know. So I think it sounds good in spirit. I like the curated idea of it, but I don't know if people are actually going to sit down to watch music videos. Trent, what say you?
No, they're not. Okay. They will if it's somebody that they like. And I think that we have too many variables and we have too many ways to ingest content. In order for a video to work and a video show to work in this day and age, to cater to this generation, the internet would have to break, and it would have to force everybody to sit at home and be around the TV like it once was, for an event like that to happen. And unless that happens, it's not going to happen, because anybody can just, you know, watch their content on demand. Like you said, a podcast, anything. Everything is on demand, the click of a button. Even music, it's no longer a CD, it's a button. Everything is a button.
Right. I mean, something that I think about all the time, I'm big on sequencing as far as albums and music and what have you, because I think that sets the tone for an album or your audio experience when you're giving something that's themed out. And one of the downfalls of shuffle is that you don't necessarily get that art in the way that the artist intended for it to roll out to you and the ride that they take you on. And we can talk a little bit more about that when we come forward. Coming up, we have news and sports. You are listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe. We are recapping the BET Awards and talking about BET's relevance in 2023. We have some more trending topics to get into. And Trent, our Keep It Real friend, you know he's going to have some more outlandish.
You know I am. Keep it watching.
But, you know, just that brevity, that realness that we always need. You're checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe right here live on KBLA Talk 1580.
I love you, baby. Yeah, and I'm the reason. Hitters love a bad. Yeah. What Suki say? Give me that sex. Pound Town, just left Pound Town.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. It's the NYPD commissioner's last week on the job, and Mayor Adams remains tight-lipped about the replacement process.
Bigger than the bread box, smaller than the ant. I'm not doing that. When I'm ready to make the announcement, I'm going to make the announcement.
The mayor says he will make the decision and is excited to make the announcement, once again praising outgoing Commissioner Keishant Sewell, who is black. The White House is giving the final go-ahead to New York City's controversial congestion pricing plan. The Federal Highway Administration gave the green light to the first in-U.S. plan. That means drivers are one step closer to being charged to enter below Manhattan 60th Street, which could begin in 2024. Congestion pricing is meant to reduce traffic and is projected to bring in roughly $1 billion for the city every year. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Nearly 3,000 teen drivers die in car crashes each year. Tire Rack Street Survival is designed to save lives. The one-day hands-on driving school gives teens experience in car control through exercises that include emergency braking and skid recovery. Find a class near you at TireRack.com/survive.
It's our anniversary.
Every weekday during the month of June, we're giving away gear from the KBLA.store to say thank you for your support of KBLA Talk 1580 as we celebrate our second anniversary. Each weekday, a different host will be giving away fresh merch to one lucky caller. All you have to do is keep it locked to KBLA Talk 1580 throughout the day, and our host will tell you when to dial in and when. It's our way of showing appreciation to you for helping make KBLA Talk 1580 the most trusted, credible, and reliable source of information for listeners just like you. Here's hoping you'll be one of our lucky winners. But you can always head over to the KBLA.store anytime for the best in KBLA Talk 1580 gear for yourself and great gift ideas. Now, celebrating 2 years of being your go-to, we're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
The pandemic may be over, but many Angelinos could be at risk of losing the place they call home. It's important to know your rights as a residential renter in the city of LA. Did you know eviction protection still exists for unpaid COVID-19 rental debt that was due before March 31st, 2023? And that you have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice, also known as an unlawful detainer. Learn more about your rental rights at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Leroy, 71's backed up. What's your 20? Over.
Olivia needs more drivers for her trucking company to go the extra mile.
Got 3 more stops to make.
She wants to hitch a team to drive business forward.
Lots of double nickels on the 169. You know what I'm over? This driver shortage.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take. And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan. Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
In our community, mental health struggles can sometimes go unnoticed. The suicide rate among Black youth has risen faster than any other ethnic group. Only 1 in 3 African Americans who need mental health care receives it. African American women are only half as likely as their Caucasian counterparts to seek professional mental health services. Even those who guide us spiritually can sometimes face their own challenges. 45% of pastors say they've experienced depression or burnout to the extent they need to take a leave of absence from ministry. As people of faith, it's time to acknowledge it's okay not to be okay. You can pray and get help. Visit normalizehelp.org for more information and resources. Join us in raising mental health awareness in our community. Funded by the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health and the Champion Counseling Center of Faithful Central Bible Church.
Get ready to feel the funk with Charlie Wilson at the Hollywood Bowl on July 12th.
Wilson brings 4 decades of hits like Outstanding and Party Train from his days as lead singer of the Gap Band and his award-winning solo career with hits like You Are and There Goes My Baby. In Vogue opens the night infusing killer vocals with class on hits like Free Your Mind and My Lovin'. Get your tickets now at HollywoodBowl.com. Hollywood Bowl, forever summer.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Make 'em clap to this.
To show our appreciation for your support.
Make 'em clap to this.
Thank you, DJs.
Make 'em clap to this. Make 'em clap to this.
88. Time to set them straight. What? I appreciated the Sprite commercial last night that featured Rakim. It had Nas, and was it Lotto that was in it too? I think Lotto was running the night, or was it Ice Spice? It was one of them.
It definitely was not Ice Spice because she was on ice all night.
Listen, it doesn't matter.
She didn't get up to accept an award one time. She was uninterested. They did not like her. She was iced out.
But she's pop and she's big, you know? Like she had
Lotto is big.
I like Lotto. I mean, I don't dislike Ice Spice. I just think that maybe she's not for me.
I keep looking at her and all I can think about is Annie.
Yeah, you and a lot of other people.
That's all I see is Annie.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh.
What song does she sing? Ice Spice.
You know, she has this. Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
You thought I was feeling you? That a munch.
No. Listen, I'm the worst person to ask about this because I live in a time period where it's like 1998 in my brain. Okay.
Musically, that's where you are. 1998.
Yeah, it has like some stuff. You know, I'm an R&B guy.
You listening?
You thought I was feeling you?
That much.
Either he ate it for lunch.
It sounds like everything else.
That munch. Either he ate it for lunch. My body, I get what I want.
No.
It sounds like everything else.
I mean, she has a song with Taylor Swift.
That's cool.
Ow.
I love Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
I can't tell you one song of hers though.
Who, Taylor Swift?
Can't tell you.
What was that song? Wanna Be Bad or something? I don't know. Here's the thing. Taylor Swift has a couple of songs. I'm like, oh, that might be a bop. I might understand.
Yeah.
But I
know
am not
she
a
is.
consumer of Taylor's music in that regard.
I love her fans. They go hard for her and Ticketmaster.
I mean, fandom is a personality trait at this point. So I don't know how I feel about that overall. But, you know, it is what it is. So back to these trending topics really quick. The writer's strike has claimed one of my favorite shows.
Not again.
What
happened?
Like for the third time, actually, in this particular show. The Game will not be returning to Paramount streamer. You know, we've been through 3 versions of that. The CW version, the BET extended version, and then this most recent Paramount Plus version that was in Vegas and was a little more serious. It has gone on to Jeandra, joining other shows like Grand Crew, which was an NBC proper show, no longer with us, Black Cast, a couple other things.
When did The Game go off the air the first time?
The original?
Yes.
It went off the air, I think, around the writer's strike in 2008. I think somewhere around there.
So every time the writer's strike catches it up and derails it.
I mean, maybe, you know, we fought hard for The Game to come back. People petitioned and did all of that. You know, that was the audience collectively recognizing their voice.
I like Wendy Raquel Robinson.
I do too. So, in new news, something new for you to check out on your streams. Do you remember Christian Cooper?
Who's that?
Christian Cooper was... Is
that like the question of the night? Who's that? I feel horrible.
For you. No, this one you probably wouldn't know off the top, but I took a stab at it. So Christian Cooper was the black man that was in, I believe it was Central Park in New York.
Oh, the bird guy. The bird watcher.
The
That's
bird
okay.
watcher.
You should have said that. The black guy who watches birds. Like, who does that? That guy.
So, well, guess what?
What is he doing?
He has a new show coming to Disney Plus and Hulu, Extraordinary Birder, where he is going to extreme situations to see different aspects of the bird kingdom and their life and their different species. And, you know, it didn't work, Karen.
I'm looking into the camera, okay?
You're breaking the fourth wall.
I'm breaking the fourth wall, and
Okay.
I look at it the whole time because I remember talking about this story on my show, and I remember saying remember explicitly what I said about this. He's too nice. I wanted him to throw the book at that Karen, and I was very upset that he did not, press charges and all like that. But I guess it led him to Disney and Hulu, so here we are. I'm happy for him, but I don't think I'll be watching the birds with him though.
Not even just check it out because I'm
You know
rooting
what?
for everybody black.
I take that back. No, I just kind of did root for him black. I like the guy. I would have to engage in some California activities and watch it on replay one night.
Okay.
And then I'll be excited for it.
Tony Yayo asked, in reference to the game, if you can still catch the episodes on Netflix. Actually, they are pulling all the episodes, old and new. So get your watching in of the game if you like, or if you had bought some DVDs.
I was going to say, this is what I miss about the DVD sets because, streaming has replaced all of it. So what's going to happen when the internet breaks? I keep asking this because it's bound to happen.
Or when they decide we don't want anyone to have access to your shows anymore.
Right.
That's one of the things that the writers are complaining
They're
about.
trying to Florida all of the black shows.
Yeah. Just going to disappear. So I see J. Lou in the chat was asking about HBCUs airing their games on BET and what happened with that. That is definitely something that perhaps we can see come back with new ownership or new groups. We also see that there's some HBCU tournaments that have been aired on different outlets and platforms throughout the season. For example, TNT, I believe, aired an HBCU basketball tournament during the season. And we know that one of the bowl games, I think, got some high profile viewing. I can't remember if it was FS1 or like ESPN2. Having said that, again, same topic. And this is something that was off and on over the years, but it's a for-profit business. And if those views aren't there, you can't justify the advertising. I think that if someone were to try it again now, and there's also a couple, I think, streaming networks that show HBCU games, I think that it would work out much better. I think that there is a broader understanding of HBCU culture in society at large, and much more people that are fans of it and are into different aspects of it. But I don't know if that alone, if HBCU culture, games, and videos are enough to prop up BET. Be serious. Be for real. What I will say, though, is time and time again, pretty much consistently, and I don't know what the ratings are from last night's show, but the BET Awards is the top rated award show in cable most watched. And it also is helpful that a few years back, Viacom, now Paramount, started airing it across networks. So you see it on VH1, you see it on Nickelodeon, you see it on the various properties that they own. So that's where we are with that. I don't know.
Let me just say this.
Yes.
The Howard and the Hampton alumni will definitely prop up BET in their sports because those two alumni chapters are unmatched.
Will they, though? Here's the thing. I know that they are unmatched and they are a unique type of alumni association.
Yes, they are.
But will they really watch? Because that's the thing. Like I've said repeatedly, numbers don't lie. They can be manipulated, but they don't lie.
They are very serious about their games, and so is the SWAC competitions, the SWAC schools. So Southern, all those HBCUs down there. Those two little regions, they would definitely go hard for HBCU sports.
Okay.
As a person who went to Southern, shout out to the Jaguars. They're serious about all that.
I would like to see it.
Yeah,
I want to see that supportive thing. Well, when we come forward, we have more trending topics to discuss.
Shout out to the chat room, though. The chat room is lit.
The chat room is lit.
Yes, I love it.
Am I coming forward too soon, Andy? I probably am. So we're going to talk a little bit about those things that I said we were going to talk about later. You guys bear with me. It's day 4.
Is it day 4?
It is day 4.
Week 2.
Well, week 2,
I
day
love
4.
it.
Yeah. All right. So, Trent.
Yes.
As our keep it real friend.
Uh-oh.
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 Uh-oh. We're going to, when we come forward from break, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions just about your thoughts on the performance last night, culture, certain acts, not an extensive list, but I got about 3 good questions that I'm ready for you to answer.
And I'm prepped too.
You're prepped? You're ready?
I've got some notes from early this morning.
I like that
I can use.
You were checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe live from KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
In 2020, California established the first in the nation task force to study reparations for African Americans. Their responsibility is to examine and recommend to the California State Legislature potential remedies of compensation, rehabilitation, and restitution for African Americans, with a special consideration for the descendants of persons enslaved in the United States. We encourage you to join the final meeting of the task force in Sacramento on Thursday, June 29th, starting at 9 a.m. in the first floor auditorium of the March Fong Yu Secretary of State building. To learn more about reparations and the task force, visit the California Department of Justice website at oag.ca.gov, where you can also get details about how to participate in the hearing virtually if you cannot participate in person on Thursday, June 29th for this final public hearing where the task force will present their final recommendations. For more information, reach out to Charles Communication Group at 888-326-0010. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, non-profit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically Black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the Dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Prothos-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid. And we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. Thank you for rocking with us here on RSVP. Want to shout out a couple of people in the chat. So we've mentioned J. Lou a couple of times. He said this is his first time checking me out, and he's pretty impressed. He checked out the Rob Report earlier with Robin Ayers, so he's just spending his day with KBLA Talk 1580, and we love that. Make sure you download the app so you can take it with you, take us on the go with you, and if you're shy, which you don't seem to be, but if you're shy, You can leave a message for any of the hosts on that app and they will get it. Also, that is what.
Come on, Andy.
Look at Andy. We are connecting. Andy is reading my mind. 800-920-1580. We would love to chat with you and, make that connection. Put a voice to the name. We like that. And you guys are very, very, very expressive. So I know you got a lot of comments. So I would love to hear that. So, Trent the artist.
What's up?
Before we came forward, I mentioned that I was going to have a keep it real friend moment with you.
Always. We got to have those.
But still related to the BET Awards.
All right.
So we mentioned a little bit that JT from the City Girls and Little Uzi Vert, her boyfriend, they've been dating off and on for about 4 years.
The guy that came down during the apocalypse.
Exactly.
In the fire.
Exactly. This is how he talks. Anyway.
With the mask on. It was weird.
I mean, that's his thing.
I was freaked out.
Were you really?
Oh, absolutely. Because
you didn't.
He was another one
art?
He was another one lip syncing and wasn't matching the microphone. It was weird. I didn't like it.
There's not even a lot of words in the song that he performed.
Didn't like it. Didn't like the mask. Didn't like the fire. Didn't like Dancing on Mars. Didn't like the apocalypse. It was too much.
No Dancing on Mars?
No.
Not even a little bit.
I gotta say this real quick.
Go ahead.
Say Lil Uzi Vert 5 times real fast.
Nope, I'm not doing it because he's gonna pop out the wall and stab me. It's like Beetlejuice.
You know what it sounds like, right?
No, you do it.
I'm not gonna do it.
And tell us.
What does it sound like?
Lucifer.
Okay.
Oh.
Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Uzi Vert.
Okay, that's.
Let me tell you, I was thinking something way different. I'm not even gonna get into that.
Yeah.
So
that explains why the apocalypse is coming.
Bypass. Bypass.
See, I knew I didn't like it in my spirit. It was all wrong.
It didn't set well with you.
He came from heaven and started dancing in hell. It didn't make sense. Didn't match. Mars.
Well, in theory, isn't that what the fallen angel did? Well, anyway, that's a conversation for another day.
She had to take it there.
I'm just saying.
While we were living in Revelations.
Possibly.
We're going to take it all the way there. We're going to go, right?
But my question about JT and Little Uzi Vert is they had a little lovers tiff in the audience. She was mad that he shouted out Ice Spice.
Oh, because she was on ice.
On stage in an unreleased song, a song he hasn't released yet while he was performing. And she threw her cell phone at him and told him he was acting like a groupie. And they ended up leaving. It was a lot of drama. There was people all around them, of course, recorded.
Is that what the commotion was in the front row when all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff was going on? Because I was like, who are these people standing up during this award show? I'm like, these kids they don't know. I was annoyed by the whole thing.
Annoyed.
Oh.
My question is, right, one, would you be offended if your significant other shouted out another author, another podcast host?
Yes.
And part 2 to that is, would you take action on the perceived wrong right at that moment?
Sometimes
you the keep it real friend.
Yeah, and see here's the thing. This is where I don't like being a water sign because the emotions sometimes override my logical thinking, and sometimes you're in the moment and it's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And it's like, and now you're tripling and you're doubling down. So you're sitting there in the moment and you're embarrassed, and we don't know the dynamic of, here. It's just a no. I would be mortified if my significant other got on, TV and like basically shouted out my competition when I'm sitting right there. It's like, what are you doing?
Andy.
There's definitely gonna be a face. I might not say nothing, but there's gonna be a face. You're gonna know I'm irritated.
Can I bring another scenario?
Uh-oh.
Very similar.
Throwing dice.
Let's rewind back to, I believe it was the Grammy Awards. Adele, Rich Paul. And here comes The Rock. Do you remember that situation? I guess Adele was a big fan of The Rock, and The Rock was a fan of Adele. And I believe I forgot who the host was, but he made it a thing to kind of introduce them to. And here comes The Rock coming out of his seat, coming to greet Adele. Adele just has this like look in her face, like, oh my gosh, this is The Rock. But sitting right next to her is her significant other, Rich Paul. Similar situations, but it wasn't anything exchanged. Like, would you feel uncomfortable being Rich Paul? Like your significant other is seeing, I guess you could say, her celebrity crush for the first time.
Well, I think that's a little different simply because I think spouses are very open about who their celebrity crushes are. And I think a lot of the times I've even had conversations. I'm thinking back to the people that I've dated. We've always had like, well, who, I think a part of it is just to get a gauge of like, well, so what, what's if your dream type, or whatever the case. So celebrity crushes, that's kind of like, how often are you going to actually meet your celebrity crush? You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like a free pass.
Well, so that is a good point. Forensic accountant says, when your mate is your trigger, have we learned nothing from the Oscars? That's a great point.
That is a great point.
What
yes.
I will say is that when you live in LA or certain cities or you're around certain things, it's funny. I just had this conversation with someone the other day, and they were talking about when they were out and his wife saw Idris Elba. And she was like, oh, my God, my knees got weak. He said that when they got to the car, he went in because you don't say anything like that. He felt it was inappropriate. Now, this is an industry couple, right? This is a long time ago that this happened between them. But they are involved in the industry. His perspective was it's not just a harmless celebrity crush. When you live or work in Hollywood and entertainment, anything has the potential to become a real life scenario. I don't get down like that. I don't.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope living in LA. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's why I just stay single and just frolic and run the streets.
Just stay single and frolic and run the streets.
Yeah.
That way you're not committed to anybody.
But yourself and Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I feel that. So in the chat, if you guys have something to add, you can drop it in the chat. Call us 800-920-1580 or hit us up on our socials. Let me slow down. KBLA 1580. When we come forward, we have more on BET and its relevance. We're going to take a look back a little bit in the history. One of the things that I did like about last night's show was that they had in the pre-show and then throughout parts of the show, they had Big Les there. They had Tigger. They had Roxy. They had Terrence J. I do want to know where Chris the Mayor was, the original host of Rap City. It used to be a blue backdrop with like a chain link fence and a bench, and he used to sit there and he used to do this dance, the mayor dance, where he would shake one shoulder. I want to know what happened to the mayor.
And Hits from the Streets, where is he?
Hits from the Streets is still around. He's actually one of my friend's good friends, so I would see him often. The reality is, it's always been crazy to me that he hasn't been bigger in this social media era, because if you think about the comedy and what his show was and how he was pranking people on the streets and stuff like that, it was not only built for social media, he was doing it before that was even a thing, right? Like even before Ashton's Punk'd
I was
and
about
stuff
to say.
like that. Not that there weren't prank shows that happened, but the way that he was doing it and the way that it specifically related to Black culture, that was something that he was ahead of the curve with.
He was, and I was gonna say he was the precursor to punk. So I think what happened with him was he seems like one of these people that originated a lot of ideas, and just at this point I don't want to compete because all of my stuff is being jacked at this point and being taken to other people, so why even contribute?
That that is a really good point, and I think
because he was an innovator.
He was
hilarious.
So when we come forward, we're going to talk more trending topics. We're going to get into the history of BET and its competitors and kind of see how we evolve to where we are at this current point. And we're going to put a final thought on, because we're heading into the last hour, whether or not BET is still relevant. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
I don't bug out of chill or be acting ill. No tricks in 86, it's time to build. Eric be easy on the cut, no mistakes allowed.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. It's the NYPD Commissioner's last